Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the open source stage. Today, we are going to talk about what's going on with Bitcoin in Southeast Asia. Just to introduce myself, my name is Dea. I am from Indonesia, and I'm currently working at Fedi as the community master. We are tirelessly working on the ground with different communities, especially in the global south. So today I'm very excited to share to you guys about what's actually happening in Southeast Asia right now. But before that, I would like to first thank Bitcoin Magazine and also HRF for inviting me to speak here in the stage. It's funny because like 2 years ago, I came to my first Bitcoin conference in Miami, and then 2 years later, now I'm in the stage talking to you guys, which is kind of fun. Like, life is just full of surprise, I would say. Okay, so just to give a context about Southeast Asia, I'm sure a lot of people here, when they think about Bitcoin adoption in the global south, they think about Africa, they think about Latin America, not so much about Southeast Asia. But just to give a context, so Southeast Asia is a region that is located between China and also Australia. It consists of 11 countries, and currently it's a home for 673 million people. So if we combine everyone who's like living in this region, I would say it's like the third world largest population on Earth right now after India and China. But funny enough, even though there's like 670 million people living in this region, averagely 70% are underbanked. And also, when it comes to size, it's like half the size of the United States. And if you see here, I also spread it based on like the number of population and also the inflation rates that currently going on in this region. So some of them are doing okay, but there are also like countries that has like even double-digit inflation. So actually this region has suffered a lot when it comes to losing their currency value. And if you see also in this map, there's one that highlight yellow and also red. Red means that a lot of these countries are ruled by authoritarian regime or like ruled by one ruling party. And then yellow means like they are partly free because they're kind of semi-authoritarian. So yeah, like the countries itself, like the people who live in these countries have their money being devalued, their purchasing powers goes down. And as you can see, like historically as well, they have had high inflation in the past. So most of the countries here have double-digit inflation. Even my country, Indonesia, has triple-digit inflation back in the 60s. So if you see in the screen here, so Southeast Asia is the home of one of the weakest currency in the world, like Laotian kip, Cambodian riel, Vietnamese dong, Indonesian rupiah. These are some of the weakest currency in the world. You see there's like a note there, 500,000 Vietnamese dong. That's equal to $20. And 100,000 rupiah, that's equal to $6 if you can compare that. So yeah, people in this region cannot really save because the governments keep printing money. They also prone to different crises like Asia crisis or even the oil crisis, COVID as well. And this place also have had a lot of long history with IMF and World Bank, which you guys can read about what's happening with how IMF and World Bank really controls the monetary system. If you read like Alex Gladstein's book. So then what is the opportunities and challenges in this region? So first, I would like to talk about the challenges. the region itself has a lot of migrant workers who live in different countries within the region itself. But because of this weak currency, there's not many demand of their currency, right? So it's very hard for people to send remittance to different countries if they want to send money to their hometown for their family. They usually use Western Union or they use MoneyGram, and that has a lot of fee. And like I mentioned before, this place also ruled by a lot of like authoritarian regimes. So the governments tend to have like gray law in terms of Bitcoin, and they also actually really supporting CBDC. So 6 out of these 11 countries already pilot CBDC or even launched the CBDC. And because of the high inflation in the past, because of their weak currency, these countries here like tend to take a lot of riskier investment because they want to make more money. They want to increase their purchasing power, but because their current situation or there's not many investment available out there, so they tend to get like more riskier. They're prone to like scam or Ponzi scheme. So Cambodia is like one of the example as the hub of all the scams. Like all the crypto scams actually come from this area. But there's also a lot of opportunities. For example, even though there's a lot of people that are underbanked, but there's high usage of mobile money. When it comes to Bitcoin, there's also a big volume for peer-to-peer trading. And when it comes to Bitcoin mining, this place have a lot of hydropower, have a lot of geothermal power. So there's already some established Bitcoin mining facilities in Thailand, in Malaysia, in Indonesia. So it's actually a growing place. And you can see, based on the Chain Analysis report in 2023, they are ranking like different countries in terms of Bitcoin adoption. 4 out of top 10 Bitcoin adoption in the world is actually in Southeast Asia. Vietnam, Philippines, Thailand, Indonesia. These are the places where a lot of people are using Bitcoin. Even in Indonesia, there are 12 million people actually own Bitcoin. So that's bigger than Sweden population, the entire Sweden population. And so because of they really need a hedge against inflation, they really need some asset that can hold their purchasing power. Right now, there's growing Bitcoin communities in Southeast Asia. So these are some of the just examples of the communities that currently in Southeast Asia. But there are many more. So I would like to talk more about what's going on, like what are the things that they have been doing in Southeast Asia, what are the activity they've been doing there. So first of all, Indonesia. So Bitcoin Indonesia has done 20 meetups every month in 20 different cities. So roughly around 300 members join the meetup either online or physical every month. And one of their biggest achievements, for example, they able to talk to the president about Bitcoin that managed to go to the headline news. So that was very exciting. And they also just started a physical Bitcoin place called Bitcoin House Bali. So anyone here ever heard about Bali or want to go to Bali? Yes. So please go ahead and then visit their space where people can go there and then learn about Bitcoin. In Thailand, for example, we have Bob Space. Bob Space is a place where they run a residency program for Bitcoin developer. They have co-working space. They also run meetups. And the cool thing is that they have been supporting different Bitcoin projects such as like PayJoin, Utrixo, Nutstash. There's a lot of like eCash and then Noster development that they are doing in here. And currently also they are going to do different conferences and more supporting like other different projects. And in Thailand, there's not only just Bob Space, there's also different communities in Phuket, in Chiang Mai. So there are growing communities also in Thailand. In Malaysia, we have a Bitcoiner Malaysia who has like 600 members. They do meetups every month. They even have like some prominent guests come to their meetups, like Stefan Lifera, Jimmy Song, John Vallis. And currently, like they're focusing on how to build like a Bitcoin education center in Southeast Asia. They run podcasts and possibly also running conferences soon. Vietnam, one of the oldest Bitcoin meetups happening here since 2014. They run conferences as well. Right now, they're more focusing in doing more inclusive activities such as like Saigon Flea Market. So this is very exciting. In Philippines, so there is an island called Boracay Island, and this community is being spearheaded by an app called Pouch, who have onboarded more than 300 businesses in the island to accept Bitcoin. So if you ever go to Boracay, it's such a lovely island, then you can spend your Bitcoin there. And not only just, like merchants in this tourist island, but they also focusing on onboarding co-ops. So now co-ops can learn about Bitcoin and they can also accept payments in Bitcoin. So these are just like some of the things that happening in this region, and I would say like there are 30 plus more meetup organizer that is currently happening in Southeast Asia. There's more than 400 merchants that have been onboarded. We have already had 6 conferences. Actually, there's like 4 conferences happened last year, which is quite insane in Southeast Asia. And yeah, like a lot of people attended also either online or physical to go to these conferences. So if you're also interested in going to Southeast Asia, for example, this year or next year, there are some upcoming events. Like, for example, there's Thailand Bitcoin Conference in September. There's also an ON conference run by Bob Space that's going to happen in January. And then also there is a Bitcoin gathering in Bali, which is I organized that. So in September 5th to 6th next year as well. So what exactly the common denominator of this? I would say like the Bitcoin adoption will not happen without the help of the communities. And communities is such an integral part for education, to also helping people to understand about Bitcoin. And this is why we are doing what we are doing in Fedi. So Fedi, we creating tools for communities to be able to reach more people, to be able to even like showcase like how easy it is for people to use Bitcoin. So this is why we are focusing on communities itself. So I can just give an example what we are doing in Fedi. So we are creating a federation, like we help like the establishment of the Indonesia Bitcoin Community Federation, and they have used they have used the Fedi app to onboard more people to learn about Bitcoin. They also are creating their personal mods. So mods is like mods is like something that you can also attach into the Fedi app, like an external web app that you can attach to the Fedi app itself, and they created specifically to help run their own peer-to-peer experience. And one of the cool things, let's say in Indonesia, for example, if you want to buy Bitcoin as a kid, like under 18 years old, you cannot do it because you need to be 18 years old above to apply to an exchange. So like with Fedi app, even a kid can start stacking sats. So like this is one of the video where one of the kid of the member of the community showing other kids how they can buy Bitcoin through the Fedi app, through their mobile money. So then everyone now can own Bitcoin. So yeah, in the end, people in Southeast Asia really needs Bitcoin, and we see that from the inflation, from the current government situation. Everyone's currently really needs Bitcoin, and community is one of the way to achieve that, and they play such an important role, and that's why in Fedi we are committed to empower this community. So thank you very much for your attention, and yeah, please come to Southeast Asia.